Greetings, folks, and welcome back to the Ironkerbal challenge. After our technical difficulties of last episode, we're expecting to regain contact with the capsule very shortly. Yes, I'm hearing that we're able to go live now. Okay, so I've been playing around with the Science Alert mod, and I've decided to fire my science advisor because he keeps telling me about stuff I've already collected and have stored in the capsule. Also, I wasn't particularly happy about the way that you could just click on the button to run the experiment. Seems a little bit too much like cheating for this challenge. So I'm going to go ahead and try and collect as much EVA science as I go around the planet as possible, and then we'll come in for a re-entry. And looks like Jebediah is about to see his first orbital sunrise, so let's take a moment and enjoy the view. And there it is. I've played this game for about 400 hours or so according to Steam, and that hasn't got old yet. I don't know if it ever will. So we can kind of see what we're doing now, which is nice. So let's go and get some more science. We're just missing the crater, that's a shame. I've got the water already. Just want the shores. Where are the shores? Oh, we're not quite over them yet. Now I have to be a little bit careful, because Kerbals can sometimes fall off the ladders. Yes. Store that. And now we're over grasslands. These count as highlands or mountains, I'm not sure. Whatever they count as, I think we're over. No, we're not. Highlands. Okay, we've got highlands. So coming up in a little while, we've got desert. So let's just time accelerate to that. There we go, that should be desert. Out you get. Don't float off into space. That would be bad. Obviously, Kerbals have manned manoeuvring units, RCS thrusters on their backpacks that allow them to fly back to the ship. The problem is that without a pilot in the capsule, it's got no stability control, so if we get it wrong, it could very easily start tumbling, and that makes getting back inside a lot harder. Let's have a look at this orbit. Is it going to go over any mountainous regions? Yes, here. Hopefully that's part of the mountains biome. Let's go and find out. I'll be careful with manual time acceleration not to overcook it. I think that will do given the speed of this orbit. Mountains. Excellent. So I've got water, I've got mountains, I've got shores, grasslands, highlands. I'm not going to get poles on this orbit, and there's no way I've got enough delta V to change into a polar orbit. So now I think it's time to start thinking about coming home. And ideally I want to land as close as possible to the Kerbal Space Center, but I haven't really figured out quite how to do that yet, despite all my hours of playing. Plus the atmospheric model changed with 1.0, so even if I had figured it out, I now wouldn't know. But I want to come down there, so I'm going to aim to hit the atmosphere about at that point, but of course the planet's going to rotate. So I probably want to burn retrograde, slow myself down, somewhere over here, ish. So let's try it around here. That looks like a good potential spot. So, gonna bring Jeb home now. Yeah, so let's point retrograde. Sun comes up again. Still beautiful. Right. Now, this will bring our periaps round here and then down. So I'm just going to do a few gentle squirts with the engine. So 67, 57, 48, put 1. Yeah, that'll do it. I think the Space Center will have rotated towards the nighttime terminator by the time we get there, but that's going to be good enough to get us down into a safe landing. So with that in mind, let's push the button and eject our thrust stage. I actually had quite an amount of fuel left. All that practice in the simulator has really paid off, Jeb. Well done. So we'll jettison that, and it can fall away and burn up. And now I've got to be very careful because I can't generate any more electric charge, and I've only got 50. So I'm going to turn the stability control off. Make sure I'm in fine control mode, and just see if I can. There we go. Ish. Just use a quick burst of SAS and then it'll stay stable, hopefully. Right, so in order to save weight in the design of this rocket, I only put 40 units of heat shield ablator on the top end of this rocket, so too steep an approach might well burn through all of that, but it was considerably lighter than having the two full 200 units. But again, through testing in the simulator, I'm pretty sure that this is safe, and if I'm wrong, it'll be embarrassing. But we'll see how we go. Coming up to the atmospheric interface now. So let me just adjust orientation to the retrograde vector. And once we're actually in the atmospheric friction forces themselves should hold the capsule more or less stable without the need for stability control. Although in the past I have occasionally had capsules just flip right over and go parachute first into the airstream, which isn't good for the parachutes, and subsequently is not good for the pilots either. Right, there we go, that little hiccup. We've hit the atmosphere. It's all downhill from here, Jeb. So, falling at about 100 meters per second. Right, and there, that natural stabilizing effect of the airstream is keeping the capsule on course. The centre of mass of this is about there, so we're doing okay. Try and get a nice camera angle. And it's very confusing. Hope no one gets seasick from watching this. Let's go back to chase. No, free. Camera free. Okay, there we are. Still coming down, still stable. I'm just going to time accelerate until we get to more like 40,000. Still stable. So I've altered the default opening altitude of the parachute to 650 just to be on the safe side, because I always find it kind of worrying when the parachute opens at 500 and the capsule actually doesn't stop slowing down until a couple of hundred meters above the ground. So just giving myself that extra margin. And now we should be entering the thicker part of the atmosphere. Heat shield's really warming up now. Burning through the ablator quite fast. Half of it's gone. But the speed's really dropping now, so I still think we've got enough. There we go, we're through, transitioning from heat effects to Mach effects. We can get a nice safe ocean landing to boot. So below Mach 1, below 333 meters per second. Or is it 330? It's around that point at sea level, which we're not at, so never mind. So it'll be safe to deploy the parachute at any point, and I think now is as good a point as any. And there it is. Welcome home, Jeb. First Kerbal to orbit Kerbin is back home. I don't think there's any science to be gained from out here. No. So let's see what we get from all that effort. 37.5 science. Excellent. That is really good. That might be enough to put us back on track. Lots and lots of EVA reports. And 6 science for returning a vessel from orbit. 73% of the vehicle, and that's only what came back. So about 10% of the cost of sending that rocket up in the first place, but probably worth it. And Jebediah is now level 1. Excellent. And all of that took 1 hour and 12 minutes. It's sometimes difficult to remember how short the early space flights were, and in Kerbal Space Program, that's no different. Okay, so I'm going to have a think about what to do next, and until then, I'll see you around. Take care.